What is going on, my broskiis? My name is TheLordShiro, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video, and we're here to talk about the tweet that Treasure Cruise put out just recently, giving us a bit of a tease at the 11th anniversary of One Piece Treasure Cruise. We knew it was coming, we all knew. April 18th is what we're going to be seeing here, but the official anniversary will be going live on May 11th / May 12th, depending on where you are in the world. So in the US, it's going to be May 11th at 1900 PST time. So, as we can see here, no real surprise that the 11th anniversary is going to be Egghead focused. So I guess we kind of had like a really good feeling that was going to be the case. In terms of what is going to be the anniversary headliner units, well, we're going to be going through that in today's video, but obviously it's going to be Egghead focused. No real surprise that we're going to be getting a new Luffy. I mean, there's a Luffy on the actual logo itself. Judging from the fact that it's not a Gear 5 Luffy, I have a feeling that it's either going to be just a base Luffy that transforms into a Gear 5 Luffy, or this is like maybe like a free login character that we're going to get for free, potentially, who knows, right? But either way, one big thing about this post in particular that I was very interested, like something that I'm actually more interested in than the actual anniversary units themselves, is this. Version 15.0 is going to be teased or shown on the 18th of April at 1900 PST time. The reason why this is a big deal is because this is a flat number upgrade. So currently we're on 14 point whatever it is, 14.3, 14.2, whatever it is. Usually big updates where they go a whole number up is a big deal. Usually this is like introduction of new mechanics into the game, new gimmicks, huge quality of life features. So I'm expecting big things to be coming at this point. They did give us a bit of info like not that long ago. It was like in January or something. I'll go find it real quick and I'll be back. Yeah, I believe it was this right here. So they said regarding upcoming updates. So this one right here where it says improvements to crew edit and character power up. We're planning to improve the UX and make it easier to crew edit and power up characters as they have become progressively more complex to manage. We're striving to create a more user-friendly environment for all Treasure Cruise players. Furthermore, we're planning updates for new Treasure Cruise players as well. So they're going to have crew edit functions, character power up functions, and updates for new players. Have no idea, it's a little bit vague. We don't really have a lot of information to go off of there. But the 11th anniversary of OPTC is almost upon us. So what can we expect in terms of that update? I mean, there's a lot of different things that they could do. What is possible is them introducing a new game mode. I don't think it's going to happen. I feel like if they were going to introduce a new game mode, they probably would have teased that already. That's what they did when Co-op Quest was on the horizon. They actually said like, hey, we've got a new game mode on the horizon. It's going to be coming up soon. So they have done that in the past. The fact that they didn't mention that here leads me to believe that predominantly in this update is going to be quality of life and potentially a couple of new key features, maybe some updates to the way that the actual UI works, then the UI actually looks potentially. What I would love to see in terms of just some updates personally, I would love to see more integrations with the Pirate Alliance, like actually make Pirate Alliance more valuable to have, because at this current point in time, the only reason to have a Pirate Alliance is for Super Boss Kizuna, pretty much, right? So I would love there to be more functionality involved with Pirate Alliances. One thing that I've been asking for since the introduction of Pirate Rumble is the ability to go to your friends list and just challenge one of your friends' teams. Like you could put up like one of your own teams and anyone on your friends list can challenge it. I would love stuff like that because you could do some really cool community things in regards with that. I know that Solaris, who is the old manager of the One Piece Treasure Cruise database, he said a long time ago that he really wanted to have like a community event where we can have people, participate and we can have like commentators for Rumble matches. I think stuff like that would be cool as heck, but we've just never had the functionality to do something like that. So that would be like a really cool personal thing that I would love to see them update, but I'm not really expecting that to be the case. I mean, potentially with the version 15.0, they could just straight up give Rumble buffs to some characters as well. That could also happen, but again, like it's a little hard to kind of guess. One thing that I would also love to see that I've mentioned a few times as well is like the category thing, like what Dokkan does, where you could have the Straw Hat Pirates category or the Egghead category, or, you know, 7 Warlords of the Sea category, Navy category, because what you could do is you could introduce a whole new wave of characters where instead of focusing on boosting types and classes, you can now have characters that boost categories, or categories and colors, or something like that, and like mix and match different categories together to build really interesting teams. And with a category system, I think that would be a really nice way to integrate new forms of super tandem abilities, where you have like a super tandem that, you know, if it's Navy focused, let's say it's like a whole new array of like Marineford Admirals, Sengoku, Garp, etc. And then you could have like, you know, super tandem that boosts Navy characters by X value. Something like that would be cool, because it would make things a little bit more refreshing. So again, that's more of a personal thing. Are they going to do that? Probably not. They could also go down the route of introducing a brand new potential ability. You know, the past handful of years, we had introduction of Final Tap, then we had Super Tandem, then we had Rush Sugo Special. We haven't had one of those in a few years, so potentially that could be something we could look out for as well. I believe there was also something mentioned in like a really old data download, something along the lines of like upgrading Super Tandems. I don't know if that's going to be a thing, like a limit breaking for super tandems where they can become stronger. I mean, Final Tap's probably needed the most, but anyways, we'll see. Let's actually get to talking about the 11th anniversary. What could we expect from the 11th anniversary? I mean, obviously it's going to be egghead focused, but I think it's going to be probably centered around the anime, because the anime has not been back for a while, but obviously it just came back. There's 2 episodes out right now. I actually haven't even seen the episodes yet, but I have seen clips on Twitter and stuff about all the cool stuff that the anime has done so far. So what can we expect? I think that a Goggles Luffy is quite possible. We haven't technically had a Goggles Luffy in the actual game yet, so I think that this would be a pretty neat way to introduce him. Whether there would be, you know, a base Luffy that transforms into Gear 5, I really hope that the character, the Luffy character they introduce, isn't like what we've seen before. Hopefully it's not similar to what they did with New Year's Luffy. That character had a really great idea, but the execution of that character it wasn't really great, because having to rely on super types and super classes in order to trigger the Gear 5 ability, it was just very finicky to do. But anyways, Gear 5 Luffy with the goggles I think would be pretty cool. This would be a really exciting character. But again, I'm going to be talking about spoilers for the most recent anime episodes, so if you haven't seen the anime episodes that have aired thus far from Egghead, this is going to be your warning to you. So for those who have seen it, let's move on. So I think that this is very, very likely, especially because if you have a look at the logo here, this is the Luffy in his base Egghead outfit. This is exactly what this Luffy is right here. So I wouldn't be surprised if we end up having a base Luffy that will transform into Gear 5, and then on the other side we have a Borsalino, or we have a Luffy versus Borsalino for the headliner character of the 11th anniversary. I think that's pretty likely, and more representation for Borsalino is dope, because I mean, he's a pretty cool character, all things considered, and we haven't had like a lot of good Borsalino characters in the game. We have a lot of Kuzans, we have a lot of Sakazukis, but if you actually have a look at it, we don't really have a lot of good Borsalinos. So I think that this would be really, really, really cool, actually. And what I would like to see would be a Borsalino. It would be kind of weird to have Kizaru as like a main headliner unit for an anniversary, but I think that considering where the anime is at, I think that would actually make a lot of sense. And I think that this is probably up there with most people's predictions in terms of what we are likely to see. But you got to remember that whenever we make predictions about who's going to be coming for the 11th anniversary, they'll always, you know, subvert the expectations of the player base. I mean, if you even have a look at New Year's, no one predicted a Luffy Ace Sabu celebration. It happens all the time. If you look at 10th anniversary, no one predicted Luffy, Shanks, and Ace, right? And then a Roger unit. Like, no one really predicted that. So even though most people are going to say Luffy Kizaru, doesn't necessarily mean that's going to be the case. Usually, the number one unit we think of, it probably doesn't even happen. So this is most likely what people are going to be thinking, and I think it makes a lot of sense, but just because it makes sense doesn't mean it's going to happen. So moving on from that, I think that this could also happen. This is also from one of the most recent episodes, Rob Lucci and Zoro. Now, especially because we're just coming off of the worldwide global anniversary that happened in February, where we had a Zoro Kaku unit, we had a Luffy Lucci. If you're switching it up and go Lucci Zoro now, I think that would be a little bit weird. Even though introducing a new Zoro into the game would make perfect sense considering all of the things that we've received thus far during April with Alba, Mihawk, Daz Bones, Toshigi, all of these units basically requiring a Zoro to activate all of their abilities simultaneously. So if we get a new slasher focused Zoro to work with these units, that would be perfect. Is that going to happen? Maybe, maybe not. And I think that if they are going to go down that route, that it would not be a Zoro and another character. It would be a solo version of Zoro. A solo Zoro. But that makes sense considering what we've had recently, and they've done that in the past where they introduce a character in April that works really well with a character that comes out for the anniversary celebration. It has happened a couple of times in the past, so I wouldn't be shocked if that is the case. So we'll have to wait and see exactly what they have in mind. Potentially they could introduce characters for the anniversary that are supposed to synergize well with the characters that came out during the New Year's celebration, albeit I'm not really expecting them to introduce Whitebeard Pirate Commanders to work with Ace and Whitebeard that came out during the New Year's celebration. Again, I'm not really expecting them to introduce units to work with Sabo for the Revolutionary Army. Probably not, but they could introduce some new Straw Hats potentially to work with the New Year's Luffy. But either way, I think Zoro is very, very high up there. I think that like Luffy 100% is going to be happening in some capacity. I think Borsalino, in terms of a percentage chance of happening, I'd say Borsalino is around a 70% chance of happening. And then I think Zoro, I feel like, is maybe a 50 to 60% chance of happening. Rob Lucci, I think, is almost zero. I don't think we're going to get Rob Lucci for the anniversary, but it could happen. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it could happen. Now, the thing is the last couple of years with our anniversaries during the big celebratory events during May, we not only get Super Sugo Fest, but we typically will get an anniversary exclusive as well. Now, I think a really cool character to have as an anniversary exclusive character. Now, I'm not 100% sure if this is anime focused yet. This may be manga related, so tread lightly if you are not a manga reader, but potentially something like this, I think would be really, really cool for an anniversary focused character where we have Bartholomew Kuma and we have Bonnie. I think something like this would just be so awesome, and people would want to pull for a character such as this. Just a new version of Kuma, whether it be, flashback Kuma, and we have like a baby Bonnie, something like that would be cool. Even if it's just Kuma himself as an anniversary character, I would also be okay with that too. But if they are going to go egghead focused, and every character in the celebration is going to be focused around modern anime related events, then Kuma, I think, makes a lot of sense, honestly. They could also just pivot and just go Bonnie as well, like a new Bonnie for Egghead would also make sense. I would be totally cool with that. But I think something along these lines would be what I would like to do. So this is the point in the video where we are now going to tread into manga, because there is still a big outlier that a lot of people want to see come out for the anniversary. Heaps of people mention it. Basically, every time the topic comes up of the anniversary, people bring this up. Now, I want to say this as well. If you're anime only watcher, stop the video right now. Thank you for watching. Let's move on though, because what I also think is a very low chance of happening, but there is a chance, is something related to this. I would not be shocked if we end up getting this for the anniversary. Now, again, if there are if there are anime only watchers still watching, I'm not even going to mention what this is. You guys who are manga readers know exactly what this is. So if we end up getting this character or these characters in the anniversary, that would be insane levels of hype, considering these characters have not had representation in One Piece Treasure Cruise thus far, and this would just like make those hype levels go through the roof if that is the case. Because if they end up going a Luffy, Kizaru, and then this or these guys, then bro, that would be wild. That would be absolutely cracked. This would be best case scenario, but in my opinion, I would expect them to potentially wait maybe until maybe post anniversary, potentially where we have the One Piece Day celebration, which is a few months after the fact. Usually it's in July, like mid to late July, when they have the One Piece Day celebration, like almost August. They could potentially do it during that celebration as like that time period Super Sugo Fest. Wouldn't be shocked if they go down that route with that. But that's going to wrap it up for me. Thank you so much for watching the video. Lots of cool stuff to look forward to. Of course, 18th of April, we will be making a dedicated video discussing all of the random update stuff that they talk about during this little update information session. Hopefully, we get a lot of info to talk about, and hopefully a lot of positive changes. But that is going to wrap it up for me. Thank you so much for watching. Leave your predictions down below in the comment section. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. I'm that, guys. I'll see you guys within the next video.